Welcome to the Pub Podcast. This is Steve Mudd. I'm sitting here at INSIGHT 2019. I keep feeling like it's 2020 because we're at the end of the show.
Yes.
My guest right now is Ram Kodialbail.
Yes. Kodialbail, yes.
Kodialbail, which is, I think, as I just said when we met, it's the greatest name ever.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Rob, tell me, what do you do?
So I work in NetApp IT in the storage engineering team. So we're a team of 6, including my manager, Eduardo, and I'm pretty sure you might have interviewed them already. Yeah. So we are responsible for what goes into our data center. So we're responsible for designing, architecting, establishing the standards, making sure our operations team. So our team is not entirely responsible for the operational process that goes behind the scenes, but it's more to make sure the standards are enforced. We identify the products that go in. We don't deploy all of our NetApp products, but most of them, because it's a regular IT business shop, right? So that's our team that takes care of the standards and also acts as the L4 for our operations team.
So you're customer one.
Yes,
what does that mean?
That is another name we go by, Customer One, as it's kind of gives you a clue about what we do as NetApp IT, which means any product that NetApp, as I mentioned, kind of glazed over it earlier, any product that is developed by NetApp will likely make it to our floor before any customer does, right? So, and the reasoning behind that is we hope to give early feedback to our product team, right? So this is something we started off back with ONTAP 8. Prior to that, we were just like any IT shop. You know, we have like dozens of versions of ONTAP, and any filer that's kind of at the edge of support, going out of support, right? And it was a nightmare back then, managing everything. You know, there will be some failure here and there, some outage. And so we came up with this plan of trying to deploy early versions, and then, so as I mentioned, we started with ONTAP, and then we started with products, deploying new products too. So
do you keep that in a separate environment, or you just put the new stuff right in the production environment?
We have like a landscape for test, and then backup, and dev subprod, which could be dev stage, test, right, again, and then production, actual production environment. So it could flow through that landscape. So we do some bake-in process, make sure everybody's comfortable with the product, the version, whatever. It could be a hardware product or software.
I bet customer 2 really appreciates that.
Yes, the customer 3, yeah.
You know, they gave me a list of these official questions here, and there's a REST API question about access to storage arrays.
Yes.
I know enough to be dangerous about REST APIs and storage arrays. Can you help me understand what role APIs play there?
So, again, as customer 1, we have a whole lot of storage arrays sitting around across our data centers, right? And this specifically started off, when we picked up REST API, it was we needed a solution to deal with our E-series storage arrays. We had several hundred, when we first started, it was about maybe 3-4 dozen of storage arrays which are scattered across data centers, and we did not have a proper means of managing and monitoring those arrays. And so I needed a solution to tackle this problem. So I figured out there was a web proxy service that was available, which could, using REST API, I could monitor all of our arrays and then generate an alert to send out to our operations team. You know, instead of them going to the traditional way of managing our arrays, E-series arrays, is using SANtricity SANtricity admin manager, but that is cumbersome. You got for each landscape, which as kind of like mentioned earlier, it's the production and the subprod instance had different managers, and if there is an alert because of our operations team working across shifts, something could be missed. An alert, a failure condition could be overlooked, and weeks later, it could lead to an outage situation. So with this, using REST API, we wrote a Python script, a couple of Python scripts, one for creating an inventory, which auto-discovers our storage arrays, meaning anybody could deploy a storage array in any of our data centers, and the script over a 24-hour period, it can detect and auto-update the inventory, right? And that later on helps us get the fault report, which is a summarized report of one or more faults. If a fault condition exists, which goes to the operations team, and yeah.
So how has your skill set changed in this new world? I heard you mention Python. We're talking APIs.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like something a storage engineer would typically talk about.
That is correct. Yes. So when I first joined NetApp, I was a storage admin, just doing installs and provisioning volumes manually. And then we needed some means of automation. So I picked up Python and using some wrappers to manage around the SSH sessions, I was able to do some automation. So that enhanced my skills. And then I found this cool approach of using REST API, using the ones available on SANtricity. Well, by the way, the earlier question you asked me about REST API, it's available across our product portfolio. You have it on ONTAP now with 9.6, and with storage grade, we have E-series, pretty much everything. And of course, it's baked into our HCI and SolidFire products, right?
So what are you going to learn next?
So right now, off late I've been working on the HCI products that were recently deployed. We have about 6 clusters now. So, and that project is almost ready to be handed over to the operations team. My next focus is building the infrastructure as code portfolio for IT, and that's something I'm looking forward to. It's exciting, so maybe next time I could come talk to you about that.
So would that be, it feels like you went from a job where you're out interacting in the data center, and now you're going to have to sit at a desk all day?
Oh, yes, but there's a lot of learning and exciting, challenging situations right now, so yes. And occasionally we do get to play with as I mentioned, being customer one, we have to deploy new products, and at times it's so new that there may not be enough documentation also, right? Being customer one, we get to play with our products before it goes to the customer. So we get our hands dirty playing with that in the lab too.
So what is, how will infrastructure as code change what we do?
So it will empower our operations teams, and a lot of standards being built into the infrastructure as code solution that, right now with anybody and everybody deploying arrays across storage infrastructure across the data centers, there may not be best practices followed, right? But with infrastructure as code, we can push it, and then things could be deployed. Right now, it might take anywhere from a few days to weeks, but with infrastructure as code, we could be able to deploy it in a matter of minutes. Yeah.
So you seem excited about that. Are there people in the industry that maybe view it as that we don't need to go do that, or?
I think right now, pretty much everybody has to acknowledge the benefits of infrastructure as code. Actually, earlier I was apprehensive to, this is probably not something that as a traditional IT shop would require, but now that I've seen the benefits firsthand, I'm pretty sure everybody would
You get that fear of automating yourself out of a job.
Yes, that fear was.
Do you have that fear? Do you think you'll be
No. Not anymore.
Because of the code, because you're writing code and making sure that it works. So
I'm sure, yes, that's one of the concerns many people in the industry might have. You know? Oh, we're going to be replaced by a script, but I'm still here. So, and by the way, it's all these tools starting with REST API and all the modules that we provide. It's something so simple that somebody like me without a software engineering background could pick up, learn on my own without attending any form of training. You know, just a few YouTube sessions, and then here I am.
Where do you go to learn stuff? You go to YouTube?
Yes, mostly it's YouTube, and then of course there's a couple of tracks, nice, interesting tracks on Udemy. Mm-hmm. That's something.
You visit the pub?
The pub, yes.
Yes,
Sorry, I missed that one. Yes, I do. I do have to, because some of the some interesting material I do get it from. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to storage engineers out there at other companies, or maybe struggling with the same things you're struggling with, but aren't as far along?
Yes, that's a good question. So, something that I've learned is keep learning new stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Always. And then we, as NetApp IT, a customer one, one of the benefits that NetApp customers could have is they can always reach out to our team and then get help from us. So we are there to help, yes.
Ram, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of Insight.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.